Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
We're being joined now by Dr. Walid Phares. Dr. Phares, thank you for joining Let the Record Show with Chairman Jesse Garcia, Eric Levine, and myself. Welcome to Let the Record Show. So, Dr. Phares, you're a great scholar in terms of Iran. You've been studying it for years. You've written approximately 10 books on the subject. You have a new book out called Iran, an Imperialist Republic and U.S. Policy. Now, one of my greatest concerns, and Eric's concern, and Jesse Garcia's concern, is Iran is a real threat to Western civilization and to the United States and for the continuation of the American-led world order. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Phares?
Well, thank you for having me first, and hello to all the gentlemen in the show. This is indeed the Iran regime, meaning the Islamic regime of Iran, is the single greatest threat against modern America, and not just now, but years ago, for the simple reason it's the most powerful jihadi regime. Who wants to establish an Islamist empire across 3 continents, have had a lot of clashes and confrontations with the United States and our allies, directly threaten Israel, directly threaten Saudi Arabia, UAE, and the Arab coalition. And on top of that is a threat to our friends, the civil societies in the region. They crush their own people. We've seen many revolutions in Iran. But now, what we're talking about a threat, we're talking about what we are seeing in the Middle East. The Iran regime has been attacking Israel with waves and waves of ICBMs, of drones. But let's always keep in mind that those missiles, those ballistic missiles, and the super drones may be used against us. They've used a little bit of it against our troops in Syria and Iraq. But eventually, I'm concerned that they would develop, worldwide ballistic missiles that can reach here or can be brought in from our southern border. So I agree with you. It's one of the greatest threats against the United States at this point in time.
And do you think the Biden-Harris administration has recognized this problem and tried to confront it properly?
Oh, goodness. We are way behind with the Biden administration, which actually, to me, is an Obama-Biden-Harris administration. It's the same policy since 2014, 15. And the reason is not that they don't know. They know very well it's a policy, and that policy started with the Iran deal. And what's the Iran deal? It's a transaction. We have sent the Iran Islamic regime up to $150 billion in droves, in slices, since the Obama signing of that deal. Now, here's the question, gentlemen. What did they do with that money, with this money? Well, did they, help the Iranian people? Did they restructure their economy? Did they seek peace with Israel or the other Arab? No. They funded the militias. The 5-6 national militias that Iran's regime controlled in Iraq and Syria, Lebanon, of course, Gaza with Hamas and the Houthis in Yemen. And they have developed also 2 more important weapons. One is basically the strategic weapon, which is the nukes. They are developing, as we all know, the international community, a nuclear weapon. But my concern, gentlemen, is that this regime may have done something we have not paid attention to, much easier. And you can acquire it with money. Tactical nukes. You can buy tactical nukes from parts of Asia and elsewhere, and then store them for a final moment when they will see opportune to strike against Israel or against us in the future. And the final weapon that concerns me, they have been funding their influence. What does it mean? Penetration, infiltration of the United States, of Western Europe. We have seen over the past, year now, how these radical demonstrations across the United States, waving flags of Hamas, of Hezbollah, of the Houthis, and of the Islamic Caliphate across our land. So they have been spending money and time over 2 decades. It's like the Soviet style, 2 decades to build, quote unquote, an army inside our country.
Eric.
So, Dr. Phares, thank you for joining us. I'm a big fan. I've been following you for years.
Thank you.
So, every time the Israelis have a success, the Biden or the Obama-Biden-Harris administration constantly says, de-escalate, stop, whatever you do, don't win. Don't respond against Hamas. Don't go into Gaza. Don't go into Khan Yunis. Don't go into Rafah. Sinwar's dead. We need a ceasefire. Don't respond against Hezbollah. Isn't the truth of the matter is there's going to be no peace in the Middle East unless there's regime change in Tehran?
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii and sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Build professional skills this semester with Adobe Creative Cloud and create standout work both in and out of the classroom. Save big on professional creativity tools. Students get 65% off Adobe Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Acrobat Pro, and 20+ creative apps. No matter what project you're working on, Adobe Creative Cloud apps can help you take it to the next level. Visit adobe.com/student to learn more.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
100%. Actually, my last book that was mentioned earlier, Iran's Imperialist Republic, has 3 chapters dedicated basically to show and demonstrate that they have acquired so much influence in the United States. And let me make the argument. I don't think that these pressures by this administration on Israel or the other allies in the region is just a mistake. It is a policy. Because here's the equation. Many people in the West, circles, consultants, groups, lobbies, have actually acquired interest from the Iran deal. And that's not a secret to me. It's in my book. When we send $150 billion, let's take it as a big movement, to a regime like the Khomeini regime, the Islamic regime, what happens? Well, we all know that 10%, there is a 10% that the brokers get, one way or another. We know their ways. All the influence agents that I have mentioned, we now are discussing in public over the past week, this week also, how individuals within our own administration and bureaucracies, including the defense establishment, have been leaking information to the regime about Iran, about Israel's plan to strike against the regime. It's in the mainstream media at this point in time. So my concern is that the last chunk of money that the brokers, quote unquote, obtain has been converted into lobbying in Western Europe, France, Britain, Italy, Germany, and in the United States. And that's why every time Israel makes a move, like they are at Rafah, the lobby moves here. And the lobby starts to pound on the White House, pound on the State Department, and the media as well, because that's what the regime interest is. The regime in Iran is protecting Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis. So every time Israel moves forward, they would pressure the administration, and they issue these calls for ceasefire. But let me end with one point here on this question. It's not just Israel. Remember also over the past 8 years when Saudi and the UAE and Bahrain and other Arab coalitions that were basically launched by President Trump in 2017 were advancing against the Houthis in Yemen, what happened? We, under the Biden administration, delisted the Houthis and then told the Saudis, stop your offensive. And that was not a very smart move because now we find ourselves actually in southern Yemen with our Navy trying to contain the Houthis. And even when we do, when our Navy does, what happens? we tell them to stop, their action against the regime's militias.
You can never win a war, Dr. Phares, by being on the defense all the time. If you have to confront the reality that this is an existential threat to Western civilization, to Europe, to the United States, to the Middle East, and it has to be confronted. And I think you and Eric are absolutely correct. Until you have regime change, this is going to be a war in perpetuity. There has to come a time when we confront this. My concern, Dr. Phares, is this. We've played around for so long under Obama and under Biden and under Harris that the clock is against us in terms of containing real, hard nuclear weapons. And what does Israel do? What are your thoughts about that?
Here's the problem. Israel is changing reality on the ground. Take, for instance, Gaza. If they push a little bit on Gaza, there will be no more Hamas. And no more Hamas means you're going to replace it with some moderate force or local police and until the whole thing is resolved. Now there is a battle between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. They have eliminated most of the leadership of Hezbollah. But again, the United States administration, hopefully the next one soon, will have to go in and support a large coalition in the Middle East against the jihadists. And I think your point, all of you gentlemen, is about a regime change in Iran. And to do so, you need, to strike those attacks against Israel and the rest of the region, but also to support the Iranian people. Have to support the Iranian people to take over from that regime.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. In 2009, when Obama became president, the people of Iran took to the streets. Obama, are you with us or are you with the Ayatollah? And Obama remained silent. In 2015, the regime was on its heels economically. It was an economic basket case, and Obama bailed them out with the JCPOA. In 2020, again, the people took to the streets. Joe Biden, you with us, you're with the Ayatollah, and Biden also remained silent. And every time they remained silent, the Iranian regime literally bludgeoned people to death, women who wouldn't wear headscarves properly, to death. So it's a very unpopular regime that could be toppled with the proper support. I agree with it has to be the Iranian people. But the Israelis now are in a predicament or in a position where they must retaliate for the largest ballistic missile attack against the country in the history of the world. The question, and despite the Biden administration's entreaties to encourage them to do nothing, the Israelis, I think, are going to do what they've been doing for quite some time now, and that's ignore Joe Biden. What do you anticipate will be the Israeli response, which I expect to be coming any day now?
It will come any day. The regime will respond. But I think the Israelis now have a global approach. They know that they can and will take action between now and January the 20th. Everybody knows that. Even the Biden administration, the Trump campaign, they know that the Israelis are going to have to do what to do and then create a new status quo. Among the various theories in Washington, one, some people, quote, would say, let's hit their nuclear. Some other people are saying, let's hit their petroleum, their oil installation. A third school, and I will belong to that third school, say, whatever Israel is engaged against a military foe, they will have to deal with it militarily. But if Israel would degrade the positions, the installations of the actual nerve system of the regime, which is the Sepa Pasdaran, the IRGC. If they do that, what's going to happen, and we have forgotten about it, is that there is a brewing revolution on the streets of Iran. If what scares them, which is that militia inside the Iran and the regime, is weakened, if they see those buildings going down, as is the case with Hezbollah in southern suburb of Beirut. I mean, everybody in Lebanon is now getting ready to replace Hezbollah. That could happen in Iran. And then they're going to have a sort of a revolution. It may not be, clean and, by the book for a long period of time. There'll be chaos, but there will be an emergence of an anti-Khomeinist, anti-jihadist force inside Iran that would install eventually, after elections, a pro-Western government there.
So do you expect that it'll be a single or just a couple of days response by the Israelis, or do you think it'll be a prolonged, weeks, month-long effort?
There will be multiple singles, meaning it's like waves. So they will do a wave. Iran is large. This infrastructure is big. So they will go by multiple ones and degrade them. Remember, the geographical position of Iran is far from Israel. So they're going to use anything long range. But the difference is that there are already a couple uprisings inside Iran, the Kurdish area, the Azeri area, the Baluch area, and the center with the majority of Persians and the youth are completely against that regime. So it will be interactive. The more Israel will degrade the Pasdaran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the more you're going to see people on the streets. Now, how will that play out? I don't know. But basically, that's the logic. You weaken the nerve center of the regime, you unleash the Iranian people on the regime.
Dr. Walid Phares, I want to thank you very much for joining us today on Let the Record Show. We'd love to have you back. Obviously, this is a compelling story, maybe the story of our time. You're the leading expert on this. You're someone who's advised political campaigns. You've testified before Congress. You've been a consultant on these issues. You're a learned scholar. And we'd love to have you back on Let the Record Show, because we're about speaking truth to the American people and making sure that the American people realize the great stakes that we have before us. Thank you again, Dr. Phares. This has been Let the Record Show. I'm Judge Richard Weinberg. We've had Dr. Walid Phares, the distinguished scholar, an expert on Iran and the Middle East, with us. Jesse Garcia, the chairman of the Republican Party. I'm Judge Richard Weinberg. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to being with you next week. God bless you, and God bless America.